Writing a will is something many of us put off, or do and then forget about. I'm here with Caroline Wallis, a partner at law firm Boyce Turner, to find out why not writing or reviewing your will is potentially a big financial mistake. So Caroline, what's the biggest mistake people make when it comes to thinking about writing a will?
They put it off, they don't do it. But actually, it's very important to do it at many stages in life, even from somebody who may be 16, perhaps a soldier going to Afghanistan. He can actually make a will, although the legal age for making a will is from the age of 18. And if you think about an 18-year-old, well, they might have a child by then, so that's an important time to make a will. And also, they might be coming into some money that their parents have invested for them. So again, they've got an asset, they should think about making a will.
At what other points in life should people think about writing a will?
Any major life change, so setting up home with somebody, buying a house, starting a new relationship, moving in with somebody even though you might not be married to them, getting married or going into a civil partnership, divorce, remarriage, and if you've got your own business and if you start to build up significant wealth as well.
So what happens if you die without having a will in place?
Well, there's some rules called the intestate rules, which came in 1925, and they set out a statutory order of who would inherit in the event of you not having a will. And these can have some very difficult unintended consequences. For example, if you die leaving money and it's all in your name and you've got a spouse and children, depending on the amount of the estate, the spouse will only get £250,000 and then what they call a life interest, which is the use or assets of the estate in one half, and the other half will go to the children. Now, children under the intestate rules inherit at 18, which is very young for them to inherit a significant amount of money, and it could also cause inheritance tax to be payable. So if you have no children, a spouse may end up sharing the estate with their deceased spouse parents or brothers and sisters or nephews and nieces. You can avoid all that difficulty by making a will.
So what's your top tips then on people writing a will?
First thing to do is think about what you own and make a list of what you've got. Most people are worth more than they think. The second thing is then to think about who you should appoint as your executor and trustee. If you've got young children, you must also think about who to appoint as a guardian for them. And obviously these must be people who you trust implicitly to look after your treasured possessions, your children and your assets. If you've got treasured possessions yourself, make a list of who you'd like to leave them to. Then the next thing is to find somebody to draw the will up for you. And you've got several choices there. But one thing I would say is avoid a homemade will, because there are problems with drawing them up. Sometimes the forms are quite complicated and people don't appreciate the formalities for at least getting them signed in the right way. So that can cause problems. But obviously a solicitor or another legally qualified professional is probably the best person to choose. And then the next thing is make sure that you ask questions and understand what's being drawn up for you. Any solicitor will be very happy for you to ask as many questions as you like, because you do have to use quite a lot of legal language with drawing up a will, and it's very important that you understand what's being drawn up for you and that it totally complies with your wishes.
So are there any scams people should be aware of?
Yes, it's very important to make sure that you trust the person who's writing it, who's doing the will for you. I mean, when you say scams, there are quite a lot of people who are unqualified to draw up wills because will writing isn't regulated at the moment. So obviously will writers, you have to be very careful about the sort of people that you choose. Now, some will writers do belong to professional associations, and you just do your investigation on the internet and make sure that you're happy with them. They don't have as much training as solicitors. Some people can have as little as 3 days training. They may not have professional indemnity insurance, and financial advisors say that they can draw up wills for you, and it really is a very important document, and it's not worth taking the risk. It's worth paying the money to get it drawn up properly.
So where should people keep their will once they've written it? Is the back of a drawer sufficient?
I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend you keep it safe. If you're going to keep it at home, keep it in a fireproof cabinet, but your solicitor will keep it for you and won't charge you for that. Banks and will writers do tend to charge for storage of the will. The other thing that's come in recently is a national will database called Certainty, and a lot of solicitors are now members of that, where you can actually have the details of your will stored online, and it's a location database, and if you're looking for a will and you go onto the Certainty database and it's been registered, it will come up, the location of it will come up, and my firm's a member of that, and I think that's a really good development in helping people to keep track of their will.
No one likes to think about dying, but that doesn't mean you should put off writing a will. You can use the link below to find out more information about how to do this.